Hello, everybody, and welcome to English Digest. I'm Pat.
And I'm Elsie.
And we've got our translation unit today. As always, we'll be looking at a couple of paired sentences that talk about a few different topics, and we'll then look at some of the vocabulary words and grammar that we use to make up that sentence. So we start off for this article talking about being in or going outside our comfort zones. Is that something you've ever done, Elsie? Stepped outside your comfort zone?
Yes. So like 2 years ago, I stepped out of my comfort zone and went to get some classes, and got my trainer's license.
Ooh.
Fitness trainer's license.
Okay.
Right. So I considered that was a big deal for me.
Something that was worth it? Was it a big challenge?
It was challenging.
Okay.
What about you?
Well, I mean, I'm here, aren't I? I'm here in Taiwan.
Oh, yes.
Like, there's different ways you can step out of your comfort zone, but to sort of leave a job, leave your home, leave your family and your friends, move to the other side of the world and try and start a completely new life.
That takes a lot of courage.
I mean, a lot of people do it, and I don't think it's as hard as maybe it once was. But maybe not. Maybe it's because it was so long ago. But in terms of stepping out of your comfort zone to move to a new climate with a different language that I couldn't speak, with different food that I had no idea what it was, and teaching English, which I'd never done, that would have been moving outside my comfort zone.
Right.
But now, of course, it seems extremely comfortable. At this point, moving back to the UK would be stepping out of my comfort zone, even though I'd be going home.
True, because everything's different.
Yes, there's a subject of reverse culture shock, which maybe we'll write an article about at some time in the future. But now, though, let's move on to Part A, single sentence, and sentence number 1, which says, staying in our comfort zones makes us feel less anxious and more in control of our lives.
这边的中文下，待在我们的舒适圈能让我们感到不那么焦虑，而且更可以掌控我们的生活。那时态呢？这边是一个事实，所以我们就用现在简单式来描述就可以了。
So Elsie and I just discussed the idea of comfort zones, and we'll talk in a moment about what verbs you can use when you're talking about a comfort zone. But let's start with this grammar pattern. This is a gerund phrase here, so a V-ing verb form with some other words after it, and the whole thing is acting as a single subject, which means any verbs that follow will treat it as a singular noun. So the phrase here is staying in our comfort zones. So even though zones is plural, we use the singular verb makes to follow it because it's acting as a single subject. Here's another example. Reading books is something I think everyone can enjoy.
是的，所以我们说呢，主词当中你要放的是名词，那如果你硬要放一个动词进去的话，你可以把那个动词变成动名词哦。那主词当中有几个动名词，就代表它有几个主词，所以如果是一个，那就是单数主词；2个以上，那就是复数的主词。那所以这个规则呢，同学们要特别熟悉。好，所以再提醒一下，当句子的主词是一个动作的时候，你要把这个动作改成 V-ing， 也就是动名词。那特别注意，动名词当主词就视为第三人称单数。好，如果是一个 ing 在里面的话，那后面就要搭配的是单数的动词。所以这边再给同学们一个例句哦 ，Coughing into your elbow is one way to limit the spread of germs. Coughing into your elbow 这个是对肘部咳嗽这一件事情，它是个单数，所以后面你会看到它的 be 动词使用的是 is。Okay,
so let's get back to the idea of comfort zones. What is a comfort zone? It's not something you can see, but it could be a subject, a situation, a job, a place, a kind of level of difficulty in your life where you know you can do what you need to do. You're not really challenged. You're pretty good at what you're doing. You won't make a mistake. But on the other hand, you won't really learn anything new. So we can, in terms of verbs, we can say stay inside a comfort zone, step outside it, move outside it. We could use go outside your comfort zone. There are a few others that might work too.
舒适圈我们就用 comfort zone 来表示，那它表示我们感受到舒适自在的环境，可以搭配 stay in， 好，那就是待在舒适圈当中。那如果要说踏出离开舒适圈，我们可以用 step outside 或者是 step out of one's comfort zone。 所以这边有个例句说的是If Jerry wants to be a leader, he's going to have to step outside his comfort zone and start talking to people。 如果Jerry 想要成为一位领导者的话，他必须踏出自己的舒适圈，开始与人交谈。
We could also say remain in your comfort zone. That's another verb that would work. And yes, it can help us to stay inside our comfort zones for a while because this helps us feel in control of our lives. If you are in control of something, then you are the one who decides what happens. Outside factors can't really change it. You're prepared for things, you won't be surprised or anything like that. You're in charge. Now, if this isn't the case, we'd say things are out of control.So, for example, you could say Matt never has any money because he buys things he doesn't need. He isn't in control of his spending.
掌控、控制，我们可以用片语 in control of 来说。那如果要表示某事在控制之下，或是得到控制，我们可以用片语under control。 好，所以给同学们一个例句咯。I am in control of my own finances, which is a big responsibility. 我掌控自己的财务，那这是一项重大的责任。还有我们也可以说 Is the network problem under control? We need to be able to access the internet to work. 网络问题得到控制了吗？我们需要能够上网才可以工作。
So that first sentence talks about the benefits of staying in your comfort zone, and sometimes in your life you need to do that. If maybe your personal life is a little bit crazy, having a comfort zone at work where you know what's going on is a good thing, and vice versa. But there are negatives as well, and that's explained in sentence 2, which says, however, the fear of stepping outside our comfort zones can hold us back from achieving our goals.
然而，对踏出舒适圈的恐惧会阻碍我们实现目标。那这里呢，还是一样在描述一个事实，接续上一句，所以这边当然也是用现在简单式。
So this sentence explains the benefits of stepping out of our comfort zones, but also the negative consequences of staying inside them.And because this contrasts with the first sentence, which was the benefits of staying in them, we start the sentence with a contrast word. However. However can present almost any kind of contrast, like, I like milk in my tea, however, I don't like milk in my coffee. And there are lots of other single words or short phrases we can use to present a contrast between two ideas or two sentences.
这边呢，我们用到 however 好来代表有对比意义的转折词，那意思是然而、但是，在文章当中具有改变语气的功能哦，用来连接两个语义相反的句子。再来呢，常见具对此意义的转折词还有包括 nevertheless， 也就是然而尽管如此，或者是 on the contrary， 也就是相反的，或者是 in contrast。或者是 by contrast， 相较之下，好，这些东西都是可以使用的。所以一个例句给同学咯 These temperatures are not normal. On the contrary, they're the highest they've ever been here. 这些温度并不正常，相反的，这是这里有史以来最高的温度。
So we learn that staying inside our comfort zones holds us back.To hold someone back is to limit or restrict them, to stop them doing everything that they could possibly do. For example, a boss might hold an employee back so the employee doesn't do such a good job that they get promoted, for example. Or if you're lazy about studying, you're holding yourself back. Your laziness is holding you back. And it could be a lack of money is holding you back. You don't have enough money to start a business, so that's the thing that's holding you back. It's limiting you, it's restricting you, it's stopping you doing what you want to do.Hold
somebody back 那就是阻碍的意思，所以呢，例句还可以是什么？ For example, Miriam's fear of failure is the main thing that's holding her back. 那代表这个人对失败的恐惧是阻碍她的主要原因。
And that's kind of like a comfort zone. She doesn't want to fail, so she will stay inside her comfort zone where she'll normally succeed. And here we're saying that if something is holding you back, you won't achieve your goals. To achieve something means you will be able to do something that's difficult or challenging. We use achieve for things that do take a certain amount of work or effort. We wouldn't say, I achieved getting dressed this morning. That's not a challenge, and unless you're in a particular situation. But we might achieve something big, like first place in a speech competition, for example. You can achieve your goals and your dreams, but you don't say, I achieved lunch today, because that's not really that big of an achievement. And again, there are a whole bunch of words that do have the same meaning as achieve.
实现呢，我们可以用到 achieve 这个动词，当然也可以换什么呢？像是 reach 或者是 realize、accomplish、fulfill， 好，这些字都可以用来替换。所以再给同学们一个例句咯。After years of work, Pamela fulfilled her dream of opening a cat cafe. 也就是经过多年的努力，她终于实现开一家猫咪咖啡厅的梦想。
Okay, so that is just some different examples of how we can talk about our comfort zones and the different words and verbs we can use to describe the benefits of stepping out of them, also staying in them. As I said, sometimes you do need to stay in your comfort zone just for a little while to control other things that might be going on in your life. Maybe it's a way to make money in your comfort zone before you step out of it, and you need the money to take the risk and do something new. But we are now going to take a short break, and when we come back from that, we'll be looking at the second pair of sentences in this article. Okay, so we've got another pair of sentences here to look at for our second topic. And it's all about camping. Is this something that you enjoy, Elsie?
I do enjoy camping in spring or fall, but not in summer. It's way too hot.
That's certainly
Especially
true.
in Taiwan, I think.
In Taiwan, yeah. In UK, you'd say summer is the perfect weather for camping because there might be a day it doesn't rain. We usually have one sunny day a year in the UK for summer. I'm joking, of course. This summer has been really, really hot and dry in the UK. It's been a heat wave. But yeah, in the UK, you'd kind of, from the very late summer to the early kind of fall or autumn, you wouldn't want to camp much before that or much after that because it will be too cold and too wet. A great time is summer festivals. People will go for like a 2 or 3 day music festival. They will camp at the music festival for a few nights. They'll see as many different bands. They'll have a great amount of fun. I did that when I was about 18, 19. Camping at a music festival with some friends. It was a lot of fun. Or you go camping in the woods, go to a camping ground, build a fire. So yeah, I don't really do it in Taiwan. Taiwan has a few more insects that I might not want to camp with. It's got more snakes than the UK.
Really? Do we have more snakes?
Taiwan's got loads of snakes.
I hate snakes. I don't want to see them at all.
Okay.
Okay, so like in hot summer, instead of going camping, we can go glamping, right?
Glamping, yes.
That's a new thing.
Glamorous camping. It's one of those words that combines two things. So glamping, you don't need to bring stuff. Instead of going in a tent that you bring yourself, it's like a sort of camping hotel.
Yeah, and you also have AC in the camp,
lovely. And they kind of prepare food and stuff, and they set up the tent, they do all the work. Something I may look into while my children are very young, because they need to be a bit older before we can do like real camping with tent setting up and stuff like that. Okay, so camping is our subject. Let's read through sentence 1 about this topic. It says, camping has exploded in popularity recently because it offers people an opportunity to relax and relieve stress during the pandemic.
近来呢，露营人气大涨，因为它提供人们在疫情期间放松和缓解压力的机会。那时态呢，前半句我们要使用的是现在完成式，表达从过去某个时间点开始，持续到现在的事情。那后半句呢，我们要使用的是现在简单式来描述事实。
So popularity is the noun form of popular, of course. If something explodes in popularity, it becomes very popular very quickly. If we think of an explosion, we think of something getting very big very fast. Normally an explosion's a bad thing, like a bomb or something doing that, gas going and blowing up. But explosion in popularity just means it suddenly goes like, wow, everybody loves this. This is everywhere.We could say, for example, that superhero movies have exploded in popularity over the last 15 years. Pretty much since The Dark Knight and Iron Man. Since then, it's like, yes, like every movie is a superhero movie.
是的，人气大涨呢，我们可以用 explode 这个动词，或者是 surge 加上 in popularity。所以一个例句再给同学们参考咯。These colorful hats surged in popularity after Beyonce wore a similar one in a music video. Beyonce 在一个音乐影片当中戴了一个类似的帽子之后，这些五颜六色的帽子人气大涨。
Yeah, a surge is a really kind of fast acceleration of something going from fairly slow to, wow, this is going really fast. It can be a noun as well, like this has experienced a surge in popularity, as well as the verb this has surged in popularity. So we say camping has exploded in popularity, and we give the reason for this, or several reasons. It helps to relieve stress. It gives people an opportunity to relax. Now, stress is something you guys have probably experienced at some point. It's the feeling that something is bothering you. You just can't escape it and relax. You might be under stress from a job because there's a lot to do. You have to work late. You've got a lot of people expecting things from you. You might feel stress from schoolwork. So many tests to prepare for. So much homework to do. You've got to get those good grades. You might feel stress from a relationship with another person.Maybe they're asking you to do things, or maybe they keep doing things that make you angry. You keep doing things that make them angry. You're just not comfortable and relaxed. You're under stress. And some people just feel stress because of the state of the world. Different wars, different problems. Of course, COVID in the last few years. It just makes people feel uneasy and they can't relax. For example, you might say,My mum's causing me a lot of stress because she keeps asking me when I'm getting married.
That can be really stressful. OK, 压力这个名词呢，我们可以用 stress 这个字，多指内在产生的无形心理压力哦，表示紧张的状态或者是情绪。那 pressure 也是压力，不过它多用来表示由外在施加的有形或是无形的压力。那常见的搭配词呢，有 water pressure 那代表就是水压。 Peer pressure 那可能就是同学们常感到的同侪压力。还有是 public pressure 那这个是舆论压力。所以一个例句给同学们咯。 No matter how much pressure her family puts on her, Glenda refuses to name her first child Boris. 无论家人对她施加多大的压力， Glenda 她都拒绝将她的第一个孩子命名为 Boris。So
pressure and stress do kind of mean the same thing, but we do use them in different ways. We could say you can put pressure on a person, but we wouldn't say you can put stress on a person. You could say a person can feel stress and they can feel pressure, but in terms of what other people give you, they would say, I'm putting pressure on you, I'm giving you these expectations, but you're feeling stress because of that.
So stress is kind of from your inside.
It can be, yeah.
You could say from outside.
Exactly, yeah. If you're talking about a different meaning of stress, you could say the teacher is putting stress on this thing, but that just means they're saying it's important. Okay, so let's move on to the next word, which is pandemic. The pandemic causes people a lot of stress. Now, these days, when we say the pandemic, of course, we mean COVID-19. A pandemic is any disease that spreads very quickly across many countries all over the world, and a lot of people get cases kind of all at once in the thousands, tens of thousands, millions at the kind of same time or in a short time. There have been other pandemics in history. After World War I, there was the Spanish flu pandemic towards the end, or some of the plagues like the Black Death from previous centuries. These counted as pandemics.
疫情啊，我们可以用 pandemic 来说，不过要特别注意哦，你用到 pandemic 这个字，它指的是瘟疫或是大规模的流行病，通常这种疾病是会跨地区、跨国度传染的。那如果你要讲的流行病是在一个区域感染许多人的话，那我们就用 epidemic 就可以了。So for example, as more and more people came to the hospital with the strange sickness, the doctors began to fear an epidemic. 随着越来越多人因为一种奇怪的病来医院，那医生们就开始害怕流行病。那我们现在的 COVID 它是一个 pandemic.
Exactly. So that's the first sentence, just saying, yep, camping's gotten very popular recently. The pandemic's giving people stress, so going camping is a great way to escape that. And of course, one thing about camping is you're going outside, and being outside is one way you can sort of escape the pandemic a bit. You don't need to worry so much about other people as you would from staying in a hotel where everyone's closer together. So a pandemic in the outside, when you can create a little bit of space and social distance, it's a good option because you can get away from people, you can travel in your own car and do that kind of thing. Now, of course, camping isn't always for everybody. It's a bit of hard work, it can be uncomfortable, and like Elsie said, she prefers glamping, something with a little more, we call them creature comforts, things that people like to make them feel better. And that's what our second sentence is about. It says, options for more comfortable accommodations, like trailers or cabins, are an additional factor in the increase in new campers.
这边说到的是更加舒适的住宿选择，如拖车 trailer 或是小木屋，是新露营者呢增加的额外因素。好，大家会选择用这样子的方式来露营。那时态一样，我们要用现在简单式描述事实。
So the idea here is that camping doesn't just have to be in, a small tent in a field or the woods or on the beach or something. There are lots of ways of living outside for a bit, lots of things you can choose. And another word for choices is options. Options just means the number of things that are available for you to pick from. You can have this or this or this. There are lots of options. So you might say, for example, this restaurant isn't great for vegetarians as there is only one vegetarian option on the menu. There's only one thing for non-meat eaters to choose.
选择选项啊，我们可以用 option 来表示，那搭配介系词 for， 同样呢会分成选择的还有像是 choice, alternative， 还有 selection 这几个字，但是呢语义是有一些不同的哦。option 指的是在某个特定的情境当中可以供选择的可能性，那 choice 它强调的是从众多的人或物中做出选择，还有一个 alternative， 它指的是可以用来替代现有事物的另外一个选择。再来 selection 这个字它就没有选项的意思咯，它是选择或是挑选的过程是不一样的，强调是精心挑选出最好的。给同学们一个例句 Karen was late to class, so she had no alternative but to take the worst seat next to the trash cans. 代表 Karen 上课迟到了，所以她没有其他的选择，只能坐在垃圾桶旁边那个最差的座位。
So when we talk about camping options, it could mean, let's go to this part of the country, let's stay in the woods, in the mountains, on the beach, and so on. But here we're actually talking about accommodation options. Accommodations with the S, this is sometimes used as a plural noun. It seems kind of strange to me because in British English, it's an uncountable singular noun. We would just say accommodation. Have you sorted out the accommodation for your vacation? But either way, it means a place to live, a place to stay in, usually for a short time, although it could sometimes mean for a longer time. We tend to think about it in terms of travel and vacations when you're discussing hotels, bed and breakfasts, homestays, camping spots, hostels, motels, all of those kind of things. We don't often use accommodation to talk about our homes.
住宿我们可以用名词 accommodation 来说，那在美式英文当中有时候你会看到它是复数形，英式英文里面呢都会是单数。那再来它的动词是 accommodate， 代表就是为点点点提供住宿或是为点点点提供空间，所以我们可以说呢 I wanted to stay at my brother's house but he couldn't accommodate me,My wife and our 3 children. 我想要住在我哥哥家，但是可能家不够大，空间不够，所以他没有办法为我妻子还有我们的3个小孩子提供住宿。
So a couple of accommodation options mentioned in that sentence were trailers. A trailer it's almost like a small home on wheels. You could attach it to the back of a car, drive it out into the country and stay in it. And a useful part of that is you could have a toilet in there, you could even have a shower, you could have a cooking equipment and a bit more space, maybe even a proper bed.
Yeah, so some people choose to use a trailer to go camping, and some people choose to use a van, drive a van.
Yeah, caravan, those are quite popular in the UK. They're even bigger, and often you go to a caravan park where they're very big caravans with several bedrooms and so on. You just leave somewhere, and it's like a very small, cheap kind of hotel option.
Right. And some people, when they go camping, they choose to stay in a little inn or a little wooden house.
Yeah, cabin, which would probably be a small kind of wooden house or something. That's not one that moves. It doesn't need to be set up and taken down, but it will probably be very simple. Maybe it wouldn't have so much running water, electricity, other things like that. So having a lot of places to stay is great. And it's one reason or one factor in why camping is suddenly popular. A factor is a reason for something, a fact or an aspect of something that's important and has influence. You might say several factors made this movie a big hit. It had some great stars and it told a very interesting story.Factor
代表就是因素，那搭配的介系词呢，可以用 in 这个字，所以再给同学们一个例句咯。Nelson's positive attitude was a factor in his success, but hard work played a bigger part. 所以代表 Nelson 他积极的态度呢，是他成功的因素，好重要的因素。那努力则是扮演一个更重要的角色。
Yeah, often when we use the word factor, we're kind of implying there is more than one of them.Okay, so before we end our lesson today, let's go through the 4 sentences again, shall we? Staying in our comfort zones makes us feel less anxious and more in control of our lives. However, the fear of stepping outside our comfort zones can hold us back from achieving our goals. Camping has exploded in popularity recently.Because it offers people an opportunity to relax and relieve stress during the pandemic. Options for more comfortable accommodations, like trailers or cabins, are an additional factor in the increase in new campers. Okay, and that is all we have time for today. We hope you've enjoyed learning about grammar and vocab and maybe a few other things as well.And do step outside your comfort zones, even if that means going camping in an uncomfortable tent. That's all from us for English Digest. I'm Pat.
I'm Elsie.
And we'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.